Ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and again, thank you to one of our sponsors. Great conversation we have with Coach Blanton, and it's always a great honor to be able to kind of pick his brain and find out, what we're going to do with you, Coach. But it is a huge honor. I've known about you since the day you interviewed. You were one of the best interviews that we have here at Nixa, and I have to tell you that, and I told you that even off camera. But thank you so much, Coach, for joining us and being with us. So tell us a little bit, and Jay Cox, Coach Jay Cox, I didn't tell you that. But thank you so much for joining us. Big game tonight. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But tell us a little bit about what's your coaching career prior to becoming a coach here at Eagle Nation? What have you done in the past?
So recently, as of last year, I coached at Evangel for the past, I say 6 to 7 years at Evangel. I was on staff there. And then before that, and I'll get to what I did there as well, and then before that, I was at Baptist Bible College. I was the top assistant for the guys team. And then they wanted to start the girls program over when I was there. So then they asked me to start the girls program about 2 years when I was into coaching at BBC. So then I started up the girls program there as well. So I ended up was basically coaching girls and guys at BBC, and then once I got done coaching the girls, then the coach, Coach Hedger, he wanted me to come back on his staff on the guys side, so I came back over to the guys side with him. As far as my roles with those teams, my very first job was the job at BBC, and my role on that team honestly was development. I know going into there, I had a niche of developing kids and training with them, so I know on the north side of town, even just from talking with Coach Hedger, that was one of the things what he loved about me was the fact that I knew how to develop players. So that was my role then, was developing and scouting and stuff. And then obviously going over to the girls side coaching, then I had to switch my whole mindset on, all right, now I got to actually build a program and have players and do certain things. And one real nugget on this one, a blessing on that was when I did have the girls team there, we had our first All-American on the girls side that my very first year. Sarah, she's going to be so mad. Sarah Simpson is her name. She was the first All-American from the girls side at BBC since I think 91 or 92. So that was really cool to kind of see her develop and grow into being that. And then at Evangel, when I first got on staff at Evangel, that was the first thing was development and stuff. And then I want to say about maybe 2 years into it, they just came up to me, and I remember the day Coach Jenkins and Coach Gauze came up to me and said, you know your stuff, you're pretty good. It's like, dude, you need to start talking a bit more and start actually coaching up and doing some of this extra stuff with us. And then they started putting me in charge of helping them with recruiting as well, so that I was able to offer guys. So I basically just kind of just worked my way up and just kind of just learned how to just get better at each spot they've given me each way. So it's been a blessing the whole time being there.
So let's talk about that, right? Mm-hmm. So you coached at the collegiate level just last year.
Yes, sir.
Totally different, and it's left brain, right brain, night and day difference, right? So tell us, because most of us don't know the difference between collegiate coaching to high school coaching other than the recruiting process, right?
Yep.
So tell us a little bit, when you're on the floor every day after school coaching basketball at the high school level, what is different from the collegiate level to the high school level?
First off, it would be the size of the players. Like just a guard at the high school level is about, from average I've seen, about maybe 5'8" to about 6 feet, maybe 6'1". You go to college, you're pushing that up there again. So the size of each athlete is a lot different, but then also, man, the attitudes and how you deal with them and how you come across them, and you got to communicate more so with them as I would say honestly, you got to communicate with the college kids in a role of not only being their peer, but also kind of being like a big brother and a mentor, because they're away from their parents. So you also got to provide some type of a comfort for them, in the essence of, hey, I can get on to you, but then after we get done, everything's going to be all right because I'm still here with you and still helping you. It isn't that me getting on to you and then saying I'm done with you and then moving on and then never saying nothing else again. Is that you, not to say coddle, but you do got to nurture their personalities, because each kid from college, I don't think people understand this, majority of the kids that came from, that come to college and high school, they were the man at their high school. So I'm learning how to reprogram a lot of their psyches into trying to fit it into being a more team culture aspect, to where it's like, that's one of the biggest differences, that all of the guys in college, they were the man in their high school team. And now we're asking them to fit into one team with 12 to 13 players where they may not get as many minutes as what they used to get when they were in high school. So that's, to me, that's one of the biggest differences I see is every guy used to be the man where they are, be the star, and now you gotta turn your star down to fit into a role on the team.
Well, and that's hard. And you're even asking them, you're running scout team today, which they go from hero to zero, you know, because they're not as developed as your older kids when they come to the collegiate level.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're going to get those kids that are just phenoms every once in a while, but most of those kids aren't fully developed, so they're not going to play their first 1, maybe 2, even 2.5 years of their college career, and that's hard for them.
You're speaking the truth, and that's another thing I get to is the speed of the game is so it's faster. And you're 100% right. A lot of the guys, I don't say a lot, but majority of them, they do come in, and it takes them a semester or a year or so to get used to just the speed of the game, to see how fast they're moving it. Because it is a difference when you see these athletes in different spots at the college level where they're just doing all types of different things, to whereas you're like, oh my goodness gracious, like they can literally do all of these things. And it's I would say the limitations are lesser, but the attitudes and their expectations are a lot higher because it's their college years, and you know, every college kid wants to have that successful college career. So it's tough mixing in those personalities. Yeah, it's tough. It is.
No, that's an interesting fact that, like I said, most of us, we've never experienced that. And so that's what makes it so interesting to hear you say that. And that's such a huge dynamic that people don't see because they're not at practice every day, right? And they're not at midnight when they're missing home or something.
Or those late road trips when they have to get back in late, and they still have to do their homework, but then also they still got to wake up for their 7:30 or 8:30 class, which is why we always would tell the college kids, hey, we have those long road trips. If I'm you probably don't want to schedule a 7:30 class in the morning for second semester. You probably want to schedule something a little bit later on, so that way you can get to sleep in. So
Man, yeah. So we just don't think about that. So that's interesting. So one of the things that I want to talk about is we're 20-0, and we're going to talk to Karsten about this too, kind of get his his feedback on that. How do you, as a coaching staff, because you are sought out, everybody's going to play their best against us. Everybody is going to do their best to try to minimize our strengths and maximize their weaknesses. So how is it as a coaching staff that you try to keep your players? How do you guys stay centered? Because there's media attention now.
Yeah.
I mean, if you show up at a game, there's a ton of people here because they want to see this team that's broken records here at Nixa High School, which is a big deal here. How do you guys stay centered?
Man, the honest answer to that question, the honest answer is to the kids. They allow us to coach them. I think that's the biggest thing right there. The kids actually allow us to coach them, allow us to coach them through their mistakes, and it gets uncomfortable. As I'm pretty sure we watch film and we see our guys, and we got to correct them on this stuff, and they have to be coachable in that moment to understand, hey, this isn't us necessarily trying to pick on you, but we are picking on you in a way to help you get better, not to pick on you to degrade you and say, oh, you're not good at this, you're not good at that. No, it's to say, hey, you're not good in this area, but this is how you can be better in this area. And I really believe that our kids are allowing us to actually coach them and really, really correct them on some stuff that they really need correction on. And honestly, other than that, it sounds cliche, but man, our coaching staff, I really believe we just do such a great job at just staying focused on the task. The task right now, to be completely honest with you, this sounds cliche, but the task right now is getting into our normal shoot around and practice time like normal. Make sure we go over everything we need to go over, cross the T's, dot the I's, to prepare ourselves to get ready for the game. So I really believe our coaching staff is really doing a really, really good job at just making sure we're just doing it one step at a time, because that's just the honest way you can do it, just one step at a time.
No, and that's good. And like we talked about earlier, Republic tonight, it's the most important game of the year. And then after that, Carthage Friday night is the most important game of the year. And I think sometimes as adults we start to look forward, or we start to say, okay, districts we got 6 games left, and then we got districts, which is hard to believe within itself that the year has gone by so fast. But like you just said, I think that's a huge piece of it is the kids are allowing to be coachable and the kids are coachable. And we'll talk about Karsten about this too, is there's a gel on that floor.
Yeah.
And that we've maybe not seen in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Coach, thank you so much. You're fun to talk to, man.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate
No,
it.
you're passionate about the game and passionate about the kids, which, makes all of us as parents feel so much better, about the people that we get hired and the people that are around our kids and the positive role models.
Mm-hmm.
And you know as well as I do, kids at this age can't see enough male role models in their life.
I agree.
And I think you're doing a great job. And thank you so much for the time that you spend. Thank you for joining us here on
Oh, I
Outside the
appreciate
Locker Room.
it.
I want to have you back. I hope it's during right before state playoffs is what I hope is when we bring you back. So good luck tonight. Please go get us a W. I know you're going to do your best. You're going to have this kids ready. We're going to talk about Karsten, see what you guys did this week.
Mm-hmm.
And so good luck tonight. Thank you so much. Good luck the rest of the year, buddy.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Folks, we're going to be right back with Karsten Seitz, a senior. He's a shooting guard. We're super excited to have a conversation with him. He's been kind of a spark this year for the team. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Hey folks, we're back, and again, we can't say thank you enough to the sponsors that we have. They make it possible for us to have the facilities that we have, and then also do some of the things like the live stream. So thank you so much for all those sponsors that give graciously to Nixa basketball, the Eagle Nation every year. So folks, I can't tell you how excited I am to have senior Karsten Seitz with me here today. Karsten, welcome to Outside the Locker Room. So glad that you've taken time out of your daily schedule to meet with us. Big game tonight, we'll get to that just a little bit, but really quick, first of all, I want to congratulate you on the great season you guys have. As we all know, 20-0, this is the most successful season we've ever had, and you being a senior, we're going to talk about that. So thank you, congratulations, and we're super excited to see kind of what you guys have left. So tell us a little bit about what does that feel like? Do you feel the pressure of being not necessarily 20-0, but feel the pressure of it being, the most successful season we've experienced here?
Not really. I feel like it's just every day I get to go, get better, go to practice, come out, play games with my best friends. So there's no really added pressure, but, there's definitely like that little target on our back, in terms of us being 20-0, but it's just us having fun every single day, so. So
you're right, and you do, and we talked to Coach Blanton about this, you do have a target on your back, whether you like that or not, it's there, and everybody's going to play their best when they play us, and we've seen that day in and day out. So another thing I want to talk about is, and I've asked the players that we've had in here before you guys seem to really gel when you're on the floor. Why do you think that is?
Most of us have been playing with each other for a very long time. Like last year, most of us were on JV together, except for Kale and Noah. So we're all just been teammates for a while. And I think the Liberty North tournament when we were in the hotel rooms and the restaurants and all that, we really our team chemistry really went up. I think, and that really helps us in terms of on the court. So we all know what each other are doing and all that. So, I think this year we're definitely all a lot closer, and it's paying off on the court, so can't really complain.
No, that's great, and you like you said, the Liberty North tournament, we've really haven't done that. And I know of in the last few years, so that makes sense. So, going up there, you're walking to a situation where we haven't played those teams ever, right? And I know we like to get outside. How was that? Stepping onto the floor, kind of not knowing. You can scout teams. You can, you kind of know what they're going to run, whether they're going to be in zone or a man or whatever. But how was that stepping onto the floor, not knowing some of those teams like we do, a Republic like we have tonight or an Ozark?
It was definitely different, especially since most of the players that we played, we don't really play all the time. So it was a fun experience getting to see all these new players, and I think we took preparation serious enough to where we were respecting everybody, but still we're we can go out here and play, we can go win this game. So it was definitely different, but it was definitely a fun experience for sure.
Well, and come away with a W, come away with a trophy,
Yeah.
and what could be better than that, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So we have 6 regular games left. We play the most important game tonight, right? We have Republic. How have you guys prepared this week to play at Republic coming out? I think they're 17-1. They've had a tremendous season. They play well. How have you guys prepared this week for this game tonight?
We have done a lot of like scout team, I guess, in practice. Like we designate some players to like be their better players, and we kind of just like go over like defensive rotations and stuff, and just like know like where these players are at all times. So I mean, we'll see during the game if our practice pays off, but that's what we've been doing.
Well, you're definitely a spark, and I've talked to Coach Blanton about this just in private, and he said, you know, when Karsten comes off the bench or when Karsten gets into the game, he is a spark. And he said sometimes we need that, let's say it's in the middle of the first quarter or the second quarter, whatever it is. Do you see yourself as that, or is it just a, hey, I just love the game of basketball?
I feel like it's definitely more of both. I mean, during the blue and gold, I really started to like realize that like, oh, like I can come off the bench and like be a spark. And my dad said like during the NIT, he mentioned to me that like during the New Madrid game, I came in, I hit a 3, and then like towards the third or end of the third or fourth, I can't remember, like I hit another 3, and he was like, you really needed that. And like it was just like timely shots and like spark that like not that you don't even realize, but like are needed in the end. So yeah, I guess you can say that I am a spark. I definitely just go out there and play my game. I don't really think like, oh, I gotta go hit a 3. I'm just like, well, if I'm in the game, I gotta shoot an open shot if it's open, or make the right play. So that's all I'm really focusing on. I'm not really focusing on like go make a shot. Just make the right play and do what's best for the team.
Well, and that's why you're successful, and that's why we've been successful so far this year. So, you know, whatever you're doing, whatever you're eating, like I say, keep eating it, right?
Yeah.
So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is we talk about superstitions, and athletes are some of the most superstitious people in the world, you know, wearing their shirt inside out on game day or whatever they do. What's one thing that you do on game days that you don't normally do any other day?
Well, I would say it starts in the morning. Before I go to school, I set my shoes and my like undershirt and my leg sleeve all on my bed. I mean, I don't really know if that's like a superstition, because like I feel like that's just the thing I've done all my life. But this year specifically,
Cynthia Bailey to the nurse, please. Cynthia Bailey to the nurse.
McAllister's after school, after like shoot around during 8th hour, we go to McAllister's and eat, and then I normally go home and I like try and take a nap, and then I just show up as early as I can to watch my brother. So and I just chill here and watch. I try and lock in as much as I can.
Well, and hopefully we'll interview your brother at some point. I know he's a little younger, but a great basketball player as well. And I know you guys take this sport very seriously. So, no, very fascinating. Invite me sometime to McAllister's. I'd love to have a sweet tea with you guys.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. Hey, thank you so much. Hey, good luck tonight. Stay focused. We're enjoying this ride. And I don't know if you've looked up in the stands here lately, but there's a lot of people that's enjoying this ride, so which makes it even that much more fun. So, hey folks, again, thank you to Karsten. I appreciate you to being with us today. Folks, thank you for joining us for this week's edition on Outside the Locker Room. Tonight, we've got Republic here. I know that hopefully you'll see this video before the game. Make sure you come out. It's a 4-game night. 4:30 is when we start with the freshmen, and then varsity usually starts about 7:30. So the more people, the merrier. Thank you again. Have a great week. Thank you again to our sponsors, and we'll see you next time. Folks, welcome to Outside the Locker Room. This is our third edition. This is something that we look forward to so often simply because we get to speak to the coaches. We get to kind of get an inside look of the conversations they're having during practice, how they're prepping for games, and things of that nature. And of course, I've got record-setting coach here, Coach Blansett, and we're going to talk about that, Coach. So, Coach, thank you so much for joining us. When you look at this year, we're 20-0. We set the record, I think, at 14-0. So now anything that we do is just on top of that. So congratulations on a great record, and I know you give the kids credit, and I think that's what makes you guys so centered and such a good basketball team. But tell me, with a target on your back, how do you as coaches stay centered and make sure that, tonight we have Republic, so tonight is the most important game of the year. We play Carthage Friday night. That's the most important because they're good as well. How do you guys stay centered? You're getting on some media attention. I don't know if you've noticed the crowds here lately, but anytime we play at home, the stands have been packed because people want to come and watch you guys play. But how do you guys stay centered when it comes down to it?
Well, first off, we get everyone's best shot. It don't matter if we're 20-0 or if we're 14-6 or we're 500. Anytime you got Nixa on the front of your shirt, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, whatever the sport may be, we're going to get everyone's best shot. And with these guys having such a good season, obviously there's probably a little bit more target. Everybody would love to be the first team to beat Nixa. It'll be a big game tonight. It's been great to see the crowds come back. We got such good kids. They're so easy to support. They're having such a great season. I think they're easy to root for. And I think that's one reason why our community's really showed up this year. It's last 2 weeks we've had as good a crowds and as good an atmosphere as we've had in many years. And it's good to see everyone back. But as far as, each game, it is what it is. We play. If we win, that's awesome. And if we lose, that's sports. So we're just going to keep going each day and enjoy being around each other because we only got 6 regular season games left, which is hard to believe. So we're just trying to enjoy each other, practice in games, and get better. And hopefully at the end of the day, we come out on top.
Well, we sure enjoy watching, and I think we had commented we're seeing some people we haven't seen in a while come to games, and that's always refreshing, and that's always good to see. So one thing I wanted to talk about is the Kickapoo game. Okay, great win for you guys. Congratulations for that. I thought our kids never gave up. I thought our kids, we got down, and I want to talk about that. So we were down by 7 late in the game. You called timeout to kind of stop the flow of the game. What was your conversation in your timeout when you guys were down by 7 late in the game?
Well, unfortunately, we've been in this situation a couple times in the last week or so. So coming behind isn't something that they're not used to doing. But, we're really just trying to figure out, hey, we're going to have to do something different. And I'm not a rocket scientist, but even I know if we're doing the same thing, it ain't working. We need to do something different. So we just figured, look, we're going to have to get up, pick them up full court, see if we can't get the game sped up a little bit, get a couple turnovers. And that's what happened. I thought Devin Kemp really came in and gave us a spark off the bench, which he's done a lot with him and Carson in the fourth quarter the last few weeks. And so we just tried to put a little bit more pressure on them. I wasn't sure if they would turn the ball over quite like Troy did, but they had a couple turnovers there. We had a couple shots. Devin hit a big 3 in the corner to tie it up. But these guys just expect to win, and that's nothing that a coach can teach. That's just something that these guys, you either have it or you don't. And they've won so much this year. I just think they literally feel till the buzzer goes off that we're winning every game we play. And that's a credit to our guys. And there wasn't nothing that we did, coaching staff could take credit for the win. We just made some plays and hit some big shots. So it was a good, especially when you're up 16 in the third. And they went on I guess after the game they told me it was a 26-2 run. That's a lot. And we had trouble getting that stopped. And so it's big to come back, to get up like that. And then to come back after being down 7 in 2.5 minutes is pretty impressive by our guys.
Well, we had some big shots. Carson, who we're going to talk to a little bit later, you could always call him the spark. We're going to ask him about how does that feel to be that spark and does he see himself in that role. But he had a big shot at the buzzer. Devin Kemp from the corner, deep in the corner. I think the out of bounds line was, tickling the hairs on his legs. He was so close to the line. But he hit the 3, tied it up, and I thought the rafters were going to come down. People were just standing up. So great atmosphere, super fun to watch. Republic tonight, 19-1. What have you guys done this week to prepare for them?
Kind of what we've done for everybody. Talk a little bit about the opponent. You know, every coach is different. I try not to overcoach too much. Some coaches will go through every single inbounds play, every defense, every set that they run, and go through it in practice for 3 hours a day. And I try not to fill our guys with too much. We talk about a few things that they do, but we just try to do what we do. You know, the other team still has to guard us. And so we try to continually work on what we can control and just try to combat what they do and when the game starts, and just make some adjustments as the game goes along. But we didn't do anything different for the Republic game that we have any of the others. But we're not crazy. We know it's a big game. It's pretty much the 1 seed for the district on the line, and the winner will also definitely be in the driver's seat to win the conference.
Well, we're super excited we'll be here to see what's going to happen. And then we probably get to talk, but good luck Friday night against a really good Carthage team, probably one of the better teams they've had come through there. And we're seeing a lot of that this year in those schools out west, is really good basketball. So, hey folks, we're going to take a quick break. Just kind of tell you what we've got going on today. We've got Coach Stanley Jaycox, one of the newly hired coaches for the staff. Super excited about talking to him. We're also going to have shooting guard Karsten Sykes is going to be joining us, talking about what it's like to be a senior in that spark. But before that, we're going to see some. We're going to let some of our sponsors talk about. We couldn't do it without them. The atmosphere that we have, and we've talked about that. The online, the Nixa live crew that we have is sponsored by one of our sponsors. So we're super excited. We're going to hear from them, but we're going to be right back, and we're going to learn something about Coach Blanson, maybe you guys didn't know about. We'll be right back. Propane is a great sponsor of our Nixa Live crew. We could not do that without them, and they do some amazing things. Hey, we're back with Coach Blanson. Folks, so what we thought we would do this week is give you a little taste of something that the coaches do normally that we didn't know that they do. So Coach, what's one thing that you like to do outside of, you spend so much time in basketball, but there's got to be something that you like to do that maybe we don't know about. What is that?
I love shopping at the QVC network. I love it.
QVC.
Yeah.
So like the home shopping network.
Yeah, it's on late at night. I love that show.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. You get back from a late game, you can't sleep, and you just kind of go. So tell us, QVC. So tell us something. What's the latest thing that you purchased?
Well, I bought this little beauty here a couple weeks ago. It's on sale, 4 payments for $19.99. So I thought it was a pretty good deal. He means a lot to me.
So our live feed, the interviews with coaches at halftime, after half, it's just an amazing job that they do, and all of our sponsors make that completely possible. So thank you to our sponsors for giving, to make that possible here at Nixa High School. So hey, I am super excited. We've got Coach V with us. Vitaly Polbert is his official name. We call him Coach V. But Coach, I'm super excited. Your second year here at Nixa High School. So one of the things that we want to talk about is tell us about your past. What have you done in the past? You're from out west, and we'll talk a little bit about the differences. Tell us how you got started and what you have done to help prepare to become part of Eagle Nation.
Yeah, so I started my coaching. First of all, thank you for having me. I started my coaching kind of career when I was still in college. So my JV coach when I played basketball at the high school became the varsity coach, and he called me, and I was a point guard for him, so he kind of trusted me with coaching his JV team. So he said, hey, I have an opening JV position, I'll be varsity coach, would you want to coach for me. So I agreed to coach with him for him, the JV team, and then assistant varsity with him. So that's kind of where it all began. Coached there for about 4 years. Then we moved the whole coaching staff to another school. And then when I got into the teaching credential program, I got really busy. So I had to take about 2 years off just for that. And then came back and coached the school I got my first teaching job at. So we had an interesting co-ed basketball league. So it was like boys and girls at the same time. And then it was just boys. So I've been coaching for a while. In total, about 10 years. This is my 10th year coaching here. And the last year, Coach Pearman added me to her staff, and it's been pretty awesome coaching here with Coach Miller, Carly, and myself. So this is my 2nd year. But it kind of began when I was still in college, and so it's been a while. I've been coaching longer than I've been teaching. So it's kind of funny how that works.
Well, and I can tell you that you came highly recruited. So I know, that when your name popped up and you kind of went through that whole interview process, that they were very impressed, with the way things went in your past. And so whatever you said or did, it made a great impression. So congratulations on that. So you coach girls. We're going to talk a little bit about, the transition between, their 8th grade and their freshman year, the freshman coach. But tell us a little bit, how is it different coaching, because you started with boys.
Yeah.
How is it different coaching boys to girls? It's the same sport.
Right.
Even today, the athleticism is still the same. Game might be a little faster in some aspects, but how is it different from going from coaching all boys to now you're over our youth or our freshman program?
Yeah. So boys obviously it's a little different. I feel like with girls basketball, there's a much bigger focus on like relationships and bonding with the girls on like personal level, getting interested in like their regular life, their school life. I feel like that has a lot more kind of power and gives you a lot more, builds a lot more trust between you and the player. With the boys, it was just a lot more like, well, what did you do when you played? It was more like, tell me how you were as a player, show me your highlights. It was more about like comparing on like your athleticism level, and girls is a lot more is like, can you build a relationship with me and can I trust you? So it's very different in that sense. The level of basketball, obviously, in the Midwest, girls basketball is really, really good. So the skill level and all that here is awesome. So with boys, obviously, a lot of times you can rely on your athleticism and speed and win. Girls will rely on a lot more on like skill level, building skills. So it's different. It's more interesting. I feel like as a coach, there's a lot more you can affect the game as a coach, like your strategies and all those things. Because sometimes with boys, if they have a 7-footer and he jumps out the gym, there's only so many things you can adjust for. So it's just kind of one of those, but it's different, but it's more fun and it's more relationship building. I think that works a lot more with the girls.
So no, that's fascinating. That's you would say that dynamic. So let's talk a little bit about that. So let's talk. So the girls that you've got coming in, and there's a big transition from junior high to freshman. Some of the girls, basketball is a very long season, and when you get in high school, it's even longer. And so some of those girls that were in 8th grade that maybe weren't so into the game have kind of so your crop was getting smaller, but you're kind of weeding out. You're getting really good athletes, right? Still have a lot of kids, but you're getting. So tell us about. When those girls come in, how do you help them with that transition going from 8th grade to a freshman with bigger crowds, bigger atmosphere, louder atmosphere? How do you guys work on that transition?
Yeah, so for me, this is my 2nd year, and I taught at the junior high last year, so I kind of know some of the girls who are coming in, which was nice. For transitioning into high school, I feel like because the junior high has like 8th grade A team and B team, right? And a lot of times we get a lot of players that come out. So during tryouts, obviously we have to make cuts, and we have to make a lot of cuts this year. I think it almost there's like a filter of like a group of girls that are moving on because they are maybe more skilled or have certain skills that we're looking for, and some girls that if you're cut, it's not that you're not good enough. Like some of those girls can play at other schools, right? But like at Nixa, we get a lot of good players, so we have to kind of deal with that. But the transition is, first of all, obviously if you make the team, that's kind of the first step. After that, we always focus on good basketball. Like you can play good and lose. Like you can play really good and lose to a team that played better, or you can play really bad and win. And like so, what we're trying to really transition them in is saying, hey, we're here. yeah, we want to win, but we want to play good basketball. Like, we want to execute, we want to focus on us, focus on what we're doing things correctly. And then at the end of the game, if we do those, then we give ourselves a chance to win. So I feel like coming in freshman year, especially if you're on the C team, we're mostly building you up for the next level, which is JV. And then if you can make a jump to varsity, then awesome, right? But our goal is to skill build and then take those skills and do things right in the basketball game. Because a lot of times in the junior high, they play teams and they don't have to play well to win. So we gotta kind of change that mentality. Because high school, most freshman teams are good. It's, you know, you get a rare, especially the teams we play, we get rare, like, huge blowouts with the C team, right? So, and then we play in a lot of JV tournaments too, like the smaller school JV tournaments we've played in 2 this year. So it's about, like, we're here to play good basketball. Let's do it right. Let's play the game right. Let's execute, and then the chips will fall where they fall. And I feel like for me, we don't focus as much on we want to win, but that's not the biggest goal for the C team, because our goal is to build you up, build you up, build you up. So when you get to varsity, Coach P can use you for the skill set you have, whatever that is. So I think that's a change, because at the junior high, they're used to, like, blowing teams out and kind of, I feel, which is good. Like, you know, Nixa basketball is really good. So
No, sure,
yeah.
and you're doing it right.
Yeah.
We're 15-5 this year,
Yeah.
which is a huge successful
Yeah.
season when you look at the conference that win, the tournaments
Oh
that
yeah,
we
the
play.
teams we play. Yeah.
Oh my,
Yeah.
yeah. So 15-5 is a really good
Right.
year.
Mhm.
And we'll talk to Coach. You know, we talked to
Yeah.
Coach Kerman about that.
Uh-huh.
But so you coached on the West Coast.
Yes.
You're here in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Tell us, what is the difference between basketball out west? You said it was different.
Yeah.
What is the difference between basketball out west and then basketball here in the Midwest that that you like being a part of Eagle Nation?
Right. Yeah. So we absolutely love it here. Obviously, the family, Nixa, we love Nixa. We're all about Eagle Nations now, so it's been good. The biggest thing I feel like here that I've noticed is there's a huge kind of vertical building of a program that we didn't have many schools do that. Well, I come from Sacramento, so in Sacramento, maybe in other places they did in California, but the biggest thing is that I feel like the way we have youth basketball, and then and Coach P's kind of intact and in contact with all the youth things that we do, and it's more of a vertical building of a program, and we reach way down to, like, elementary youth sports, which is awesome. And if we can build that, and then obviously our girls go visit them, so they see the varsity, and there's always, like, this looking up and trying to play at the next level, and then at the next level, and then to hopefully get to varsity basketball and play for Nixa High. Like, that's the ultimate goal for a lot of these girls, which is awesome. In Sacramento, we had huge districts, so a lot of times it was hard as a high school coach to reach down to the junior highs, because there would be like 5 or 6 of them, and then like 20 elementary. So it was really hard to build it vertically. So I feel like that kind of family atmosphere, and we build players from young age all the way up, and they look up to playing, because we have one high school, one junior high, which I think is awesome. I hope we don't change that anytime soon. And that feel gives the program a huge family atmosphere, and we can kind of, from the young age, let them see what it is like to play, with the teams we play, and they come visit and they watch us. So I feel like that's a huge positive difference, just to have that family atmosphere that makes everyone's rooting for that one high school, that one team. So that's a huge plus. Obviously, the style of basketball is a little different. Midwest, I feel like, is a lot more fundamental, which is cool. There's a lot more focus on, shot making and things like, which is good. I feel like in the West Coast, we had a lot more, kind of pizzazz with the ball. It was a little more street ball-y. That was just the style of play that everyone loved. We'd want to, do certain moves on the court. Here, it's more like, just go past the girl. There, we'd be like, everyone's trying to cross someone over, put someone on, like, a YouTube highlight. Like, it was just different, which is fine. But, I feel like there was a little more desire to be more kind of flashy with it. And here, it's more about, like, the quality of the game. So it's cool. We love it here, and it's been a good change for us. So.
Well, I can't tell you how happy we are that you're here. Obviously, it starts, I don't know, you wouldn't call you an unsung hero, but it starts where you're starting, right? And it starts with that program.
Right.
Because you've got to keep those girls' interest
Mm-hmm.
As they grow and as they get older. Plus, like you said, you got to build that skill level to maybe jump And who knows? If they grow over the summertime, they may jump to varsity, and you would be their biggest supporter, and hopefully they would come back and say, Coach V, thank you so much for.
And we've had that, like Layla's a great example. Last year she played C team. There were things that she struggled on, we worked on, we talked through, and she took that jump, and now she's coming off the bench varsity only. So we've had that. So it's not impossible. It's just, will you listen? Will you take it in? And will you now adjust your game? And playing for C team is not looked at as bad. It's, let's build a skill to build you up. And if you have the right mindset, then you can make a jump. And like Layla's a great example of that. So that's kind of the work in the trenches that we do, which is
well, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right. We appreciate that you were. I think you were a great hire.
Thank you.
And I think Coach Perryman is very happy with your abilities and the way you see the game and the way you have worked the floor, which is a huge asset to Nixa basketball, Eagle Nation. I mean, the atmosphere on game nights is a blast.
Yeah,
The crowd last night was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's all testament to what you guys do day in and day out. And some of the things, and that's why we do this, because we're really
Right. Yeah, it's definitely fun. And
But
it's always exciting.
thank you so much for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you.
You've got 5 regular season games left.
Yes.
You've got Carthage Thursday
Yeah.
night, which
Yes.
is going to be another barn burner.
Right. Yeah.
Good program, one of the
Right.
better teams they've had in the past.
Right.
So we're excited to see how you guys do there. So, Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll let you back to class.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for taking
Perfect
time.
timing. Yeah, thank you.
And good luck the rest of the year. Folks, we'll be right back. We're going to talk with Allison Jones. She's one of the power forwards. They did a great job on the paint last night against Republic. We're going to talk to Allison Jones next, but we're going to talk some of our sponsors coming up. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us on here inside the locker room, but we call this show outside the locker room because we kind of get to talk to players, which I'm super pumped about talking to Allison. But we get to talk to the coaches, find out some of the things that they're talking about during their timeouts and in the locker rooms at halftime. Just things that we don't normally get to see. So that's what makes it so interesting. But I am so excited that Allison Jones, senior, here, she's a power forward for Nixa, has decided that to join us. And so we're going to talk to Allison. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. I know that you could be in class right now, so thank you for stepping aside and doing that for us. I appreciate that. So congratulations. You guys are having a very successful year. I mean, the crowds last night, the Republic game, didn't go the way we wanted. However, the crowd was tremendous. There was a lot of people here. The atmosphere is great. And that's a testament to the level of play and the excitement that you guys generate when you play. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I wanted to talk to you and ask, you're a senior. You saw some varsity time last year, not near as much. I mean, you're starting now. Do you feel that pressure? And some kids, it's that unneeded pressure, but you are a senior, so you are a leader. Do you feel that pressure when you're on the floor, or is it something that you just you kind of try to look past? Do you feel pressure at all?
So I definitely felt pressure at the beginning of the season, like starting out, because I was really nervous because I had never seen that much varsity time before. But it's definitely a lot better now, and I just kind of just let stuff happen, and I just don't worry about that stuff anymore.
No, and that's good. And I think sometimes youth can do that rather than we as adults. I think put pressure on ourselves, in our jobs and things like that. Where you guys, it's refreshing because it's good to see that you guys are enjoying the moment. You're enjoying this. I mean, you've got 5 games left this regular season, which I can't believe that we're saying that. And Thursday night is the most important game. Last night was an important game. Next week is another important game, to set those seeds for district. And I wanted to talk to you real quick about that. So what is it that you are focusing on here in the next 5 games? If I ask Allison Jones, what's going through your brain? What's your focus the next, a couple of weeks?
I would say my focus is like in the games making smart decisions, like both on offense and defense, like not getting in foul trouble, taking smart shots, because I don't want to make a bad decision that could take us out of the game, and so I'm just trying to focus on making the right decision.
No, and that's big, right? That's big because those other players, those younger players are going to. And we've talked to Coach Perryman about this, and you guys have a very deep bench, but those younger players still look at you guys and still look up to you seniors and your focus, and that's good to hear. So last night, very physical game, very physical game. Referees let you guys play a little bit. So what do you do outside of basketball that helps you not only prepare for games, but kind of makes you centered to where you're mentally focused and you're physically ready to play basketball?
So one thing I really like to do is I like to go to the gym whenever I have free time, and that, obviously that helps with like the physical aspect of basketball, but it also helps like calm me and like keep me focused. And then I also really like to read, which also helps like keep me calm and focused.
What do you like to read? Tell us some of the books that you've got going on right now.
I really like mystery books and like murder mysteries. I really love the suspense.
So we talked about being a senior. What is it? So when you look back at the season, and like I said, it's been super successful. When you look back at the season, what is it that you want to take away? So we've got 5 games left. We move into districts. We will go deep into districts. I know we will. What is it when you look at this entire year? What is it that right now, if you walked away from the game today, what is it that you would take away from the game right now as we sit here?
I would say that the most important thing is playing together as a team, and having a bond with your teammates and forming those relationships, because when it comes down to it, the team that has the better chemistry is gonna come out on top, and I think we're so special and we have such a great bond, and that really helps us through the tough games.
And you see that on the floor. You can't see it because you're there and you're in the moment, but from us sitting and watching the games, even when someone does something wrong, it's like someone else steps up. You're not gonna have a good day every day. Your other players aren't gonna have a good day. And it's really cool to see you guys, and it's really cool to see you. Someone will always step up and say, hey, you're having a bad day, or you're not having the game that you normally have. It's my turn. That's refreshing. It's fun to watch, and I think that's why we're getting such big crowds for you guys, is because that chemistry that you guys have on the floor and the way that you all get along says and is a testament to not only what you guys have done in the past, but also your coaching staff and how they foster that. And we're going to talk to Coach Fee here, and we'll talk to him about how do we foster that as a coaching staff. So that makes a lot of sense. So the last thing that I want to ask you, people are always interested in this. So what is one superstition? What is one thing? And athletes sometimes are the most superstitious people in the world, whether you wear a shirt backwards during the day or whatever that is, right? What is that one thing that you do on game days that you don't do any other day?
I put my socks and shoes on in like the same order before every game.
Like in the locker room?
Like in the locker room.
So what do you normally put your shoes on first before you put your socks on?
Well, I just normally I just put like my socks and shoes on in any random order, but I have to have a certain order. Like I put on my left sock first, and then my right one, then my left shoe, then my right shoe before games. And I don't know why I started doing it. I just have.
That's and that's the first time I've ever heard that. So you're very unique in that aspect. So hey, good luck. I know you guys play again this week. Like I said, you got 5 games left. You've got some really good teams coming up, and that's just the way it is, right? And of course, the districts is like starting all over again. So good luck. Congratulations on a huge season. We love watching you guys play. Folks, if you have not seen them play, you have got to come out and catch. They get up and down the floor. They're very physical. We shoot We pass, we guard, we mix it up. You're doing a great job on the inside the paint this year. I've been very impressed at your turnaround jump shot. I don't know what you're shooting percentage-wise, but it's good. So congratulations on that. Folks, thank you for joining us this week for Outside the Locker Room. Catch us here in about a couple of weeks. We'll talk games and then prepare for districts. So thank you so much. Come out and join a game. Thank you for joining us. Have a good week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our third installment of Outside the Locker Room. This is something that we like to do just to kind of give you an inside look of the coaches, what's going on in practices, how they're preparing for teams, but also some of the conversations they're having in the locker rooms that we don't get to see at halftime, whether they're up at half, whether they're down at half, whether they're up by 3 because of a last-second shot, which has happened a couple of times this year. So it gives us an inside look to what they're talking about, how their players are doing with adversity, and what does it feel like to win a big game and things like that. So thank you for joining us. We'll come to our sponsors here in a little bit. Coach Perryman, thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure to get to talk to you, and we're going to talk to Allison Jones a little bit. And we're going to talk to Coach B here a little bit too. So we're super excited about learning about him, his past. But really quick. So today, as we wake up, we're 15-5. We'll talk about the game last night against Republic, a really good team, and I know that you guys have learned a lot from that. But 15-5, that's a good year. That is a really good season. How are you feeling right now?
You know, we're hungry for more. I'm proud of our kids because we knew that it was going to be a tough season, tough schedule. There's a couple of those 5 losses that we'd like to have back. A couple of them we might get some revenge on. We may see Republic again. I'm not sure, but no matter what, each of those 5 losses have taught us more than some of those 15 wins could teach us. So we're just building. We've already looked at film. We're going to look at it again today, and hopefully just continue to build on those things that we need to do better and learn from.
So one of those games that I think we can learn some from, but really faced a really good Park Hill South team in the girls NIT.
Yeah.
And we had talked about how good the teams were and how many Division I players we had coming through this gym that week. And I don't think people really realize that. So tell us about what was your conversations, what was practice like after that week for that loss at Park Hill South?
I think we realized that we can compete with anybody. And we've got to stop worrying about who we're playing and just kind of take care of us. And so we spent the next week just focusing on us. We had 10 days between games and with the snow days and stuff to just really focus in on who we are rather than what the scouting report says about the other team. And I felt like we did that, and I felt like it showed against Jeff City.
Well, we have a target on our back, and any time with the N on the front of our jerseys. You're always going to see someone's best. They're always going to play their best against us. They're going to try to minimize our strengths, maximize their weaknesses. And so I think you said it best. You learn more from those 5 losses than you have from those 15 wins. So let's talk about the game last night. Tough loss, lost by 5. Really, I thought at the beginning of the game, we had that game under control. We were doing all the things that we wanted to do. We were doing things the right way. We weren't making all of our shots, but we were making shots. I mean, very seldom did we get, where they would stop us. And so let's talk about that. I know you guys have already kind of started looking at film and things of that nature. What was your conversation in the locker room after the game last night, after the Republic?
A lot of games come down to about 2 or 3 things. Rebounding and turnovers are always 2 of the 3. And we had a stretch where they went on a 14-0 run, and we had 3 turnovers and 2 non-blockouts where they got putbacks. Didn't take some necessarily the smartest shots. So we had a little bit of a span. You played well for 25 minutes, but about 7 minutes. They went on a run, and that was the outcome of the game. So you've got to rebound, you've got to take care of the ball, and those have been our Achilles heels all year. And until we do something about it and take care of it, and take what we work on in practice and what we talk about and put in the game, against good teams, that's going to happen.
No, you're right. A very physical game, and we're going to talk to Allison Jones about that. Some calls we thought they missed, maybe some calls that they, were just a little inconsistent with, but very physical game. And you're going to see that at 6A. And we're going to see that Thursday night against Carthage.
Absolutely.
So what are you guys going to do here in the next 2 days to prepare for Thursday night at Carthage? A good team, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going there. And it's a tough place to play. And it's, any night of conference is tough. It's physical. So, again, just, focus on rebounding. They don't have the bigs. They're all guards. And, that's one thing I've put on our guards is our guards have to do the rebounding. A lot of times post players get the bad rap of if we're not rebounding, it's their fault. It's not. It's a team effort. So is taking care of the ball. So we're just going to have to really hone in on that the next 2 days. Because no matter who we're playing or what the score is, we have goals about offensive rebounds we give up, about rebounds we get, and then about turnovers. And we need to meet those goals that we have for each game.
Well, no doubt you guys will be ready. I know you're going to be ready, and I know the girls, there's blood in the water, and you're ready to get after it, I'm sure.
Yep.
And that game will not come soon enough.
Carthage is probably in the way of
Yeah.
our
I was going to
ultimate
say
goal.
that. I wanted you to say that, but I'm glad you did.
We have a lot of goals, and Carthage is the next team that's in the way.
So let's talk about that. We've only got 5 games left, and I can't believe we're saying that.
Yeah. Senior night's Monday night.
Yeah, we got 5 games left till the end of the season. Then we move into districts,
Yep.
which this rat race is going to start all over again
Yeah.
because our district is so stacked. What are you guys focusing on the next 5 games? And I know, like we talked about, the most important game is Thursday night,
Yep.
and after that, the
Yep.
most important game is Monday night.
Yep.
But what are you guys, as a coaching staff, as you look ahead, 5 games left, what are you guys focusing on?
Consistency. It's been an issue all year, and we knew that with inexperience comes that. But we're 20 games in, and so it's kind of time to, we're no longer a young team, and we've got to find consistency, and our kids have got to start bringing it. And I think once we do that, then we can move on to get to that next level that we're looking at.
Well, you're fun to watch, and I don't know if you looked in the stands last night. Great crowd last night.
Unbelievable.
Huge crowd.
I tell our kids, most girls' games don't have a crowd like that.
Oh no, no.
And I mean, of course, I do think it's one of the premier games in the area. Last night, one of the premier matchups. But several of our youth programs were there, our youth teams were there, junior high kids, younger kids, and so we have unbelievable support in this community that I don't think people realize.
Well, let me tell you, they're fun to watch. They get up and down the floor. We're going to talk to Allison about this. Just the communication and that gel factor they have on the floor makes it fun to watch.
Yes.
Makes them, they get up and down the floor, and that's fun to see.
Yep.
So thank you. I appreciate it for talking to us. Always look forward to these
Yep.
conversations to kind of pick
Well,
your.
anytime we talk about our kids, I'm glad to sit down. I love talking about
And
it.
that's what makes you good at what you do. So, hey folks, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna hear from our sponsor. When we come back, we're gonna ask Coach Perryman something that she maybe does that we don't know, that we don't know about, and maybe pick on her, aside away from basketball and see what she does. We'll be right back. Hey folks, welcome back. So glad. Thank you to our sponsors. That we could not do it without them. The live broadcast feeds that we do. The kids do such a great job. The coaches interviews that we get to do between after half and things of that nature to kind of pick the coach's brain and where's their brain. It's a huge blessing, and our sponsors make that so possible. So folks, something that we want to do this week on Outside the Locker Room is to talk to Coach Perryman. And so Coach, what's an ability that you have that we may not know about?
Well, I don't like to talk about this because it's, obviously it's private and it's kind of a secret, and it's kind of an advantage sometimes I have, but I can read minds.
You can read minds?
Yeah, sorry, here. I can tell you're thirsty right now. It's not red, I know that's what you're thinking, but that's all I have, so I'm sorry. But I know you're thirsty, so go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was very thirsty.
Yeah. And one thing, don't worry, with this, there seems to be a lot of, I could easily judge people for reading minds. Sometimes I look at people and I just kind of have to walk away, but I'm not judging you. I know there's something you're struggling with in your pocket. I know there's a habit you're trying to break, and I just want to tell you, you can do it. You don't need it anymore. You can be strong. I know that's something that you're struggling with breaking. Hey, you can do this. You can be strong. You can do it. You've got it. Don't. You can do this. Don't do it. Just give it to me. Just give it to me. Okay, we can do this.